How many times have you felt lost? How many nights have you asked yourself, why am I still here? How many dreams have you buried because life didn't move as fast as your hope? You worked hard, you stayed patient, and still nothing changed. You wonder if maybe you failed, or worse, that you were never meant to succeed. But what if this silence is not the end? What if it's the beginning of something you can't see yet? Because every great transformation begins the same way, in the dark. How many times have you looked at your reflection and seen a stranger staring back? A face tired from trying, a heart heavy from waiting. Eyes that once carried dreams, now filled with silent questions. You tell yourself to keep going, but you don't even know where going leads anymore. You wake up, you move, you work, yet something inside feels hollow. You wonder, what's the point? Why do I keep walking if I can't see the destination? And still, you keep walking. That is the quiet form of faith, not the loud, confident kind people post about online, but the quiet kind, the one that simply breathes through pain. Doubt feels heavy because it presses against your deepest hopes. It whispers that you are wasting your time, that maybe you are not strong enough, not smart enough, not chosen. But the truth is this: doubt only exists in those who still care. The hopeless feel nothing, the faithful feel doubt. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He did not write that from comfort or peace. He wrote it surrounded by war, betrayal, and exhaustion. He wrote it because he knew that when the world collapses, the only fortress left is within. Maybe that's where you are now, in the ruins of your own plans. You tried, you worked, you believed, and the world gave you silence in return. You planted seeds, but no green broke through the soil. You prayed for light, but the sky stayed gray. Listen carefully. The silence is not a punishment. It is space. Space for you to build something unshakable inside. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." He wasn't glorifying suffering. He was revealing its purpose. The mind, like the muscle, grows through resistance. Without struggle, there is no strength, only softness. When a soldier trains in peace, he forgets the weight of war. When a soul grows in comfort, it forgets its own power. So life, in its strange mercy, gives us resistance, not to destroy us, but to remind us what we are made of. You might think you're standing still, but growth rarely announces itself. A seed doesn't make noise when it breaks open underground. You don't hear the roots spreading, but they are. You don't see your progress yet, but it's happening. In the unseen hours, in the quiet work, in the moments you didn't give up. Epictetus once said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." That's what the process is doing right now. It's revealing who you are beneath the surface. When the comfort fades, when applause disappears, when no one is watching. The Stoics called this the inner citadel, the unbreakable part of you that remains calm when everything else burns. You are building that citadel every time you endure a day that tries to break you. Faith in the process doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It means acknowledging you're lost, but choosing to move anyway. It means saying, I don't understand why this is happening, but I'll still do my part. It means showing up when you feel unseen, doing the work when the world doesn't clap, holding the line when your heart wants to quit. Seneca also said, to bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. That calm mind is what you are practicing now. Every time you take a breath before you react, every time you keep your word when no one will know, every time you continue, even uncertain, you are cultivating strength that one day will seem effortless. You will question yourself again and again. That's not weakness, that's awareness. A blind believer never learns. A doubting soul, when honest, grows wiser. The Stoic path was never about eliminating emotion. It was about mastering reaction. You are not called to be cold. You are called to be calm. Epictetus reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So breathe, right here in this exact moment. You don't need to solve your life today. You only need to hold faith for the next small step. Not in results, not in outcomes, but in effort, pure, intentional effort. The weight you feel is not failure. It's resistance shaping you into someone who can hold more. And if it hurts, let it. Pain is the sculptor's hand. Endurance is the marble that remains. Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That is the essence of this process. The obstacle itself becomes your teacher. The challenge becomes the lesson, and the pain becomes the path. One day you will look back and realize everything that felt like delay was preparation. Everything that broke you was bending you toward truth, and every doubt that tried to drown you only taught you how to breathe underwater. Seneca once said, fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave. So let the fire come. You are not fragile. You are being refined. The flames will not consume you. They will clarify you. Faith in the process does not promise speed. It promises depth. It's not about getting there fast. It's about becoming unshakable while you wait. And when the waiting ends, when the silence breaks, you'll understand what all of this was for. You'll realize the process was never against you. It was always preparing you for the moment you'd finally see what you've become. You will stand stronger, speak softer, and move with certainty, not because life got easier, but because you learned to walk through uncertainty with faith. And that faith, quiet, steady, unseen, was the weight you once called doubt.
The world is loud. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be heard. But growth, real growth, happens in silence. No one claps when you wake up early to study. No one applauds when you choose discipline over distraction. No one sees you holding yourself together when your mind wants to collapse. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." He didn't say talk like one. He didn't say post like one. He said be one. In silence, without announcement, without validation. Because greatness is never born in noise. It's built in the quiet moments. When the crowd is gone, when the lights are off, when you are alone with your doubts. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." But preparation doesn't look glorious. It looks ordinary. It looks boring. It looks like the same day repeated 1,000 times with unseen effort. That's why so few ever master it. Because silent work doesn't feed the ego. It feeds the soul. Every time you choose effort over excuse, you are building the invisible structure of resilience. Every repetition, every hour of focus is a brick in the fortress of your future self. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. It means to prepare your mind for hardship before it arrives, to train your character before the test, to strengthen your spirit before life demands it. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's the heart of the silent work, declaring quietly in your soul, "This is who I will become," and then living like it's already true. No audience, no reward, no recognition, only alignment. The process is slow because transformation is sacred. You are not building a moment of glory. You are building a lifetime of strength. There will be days when you question if it's worth it. You will see others move faster, win sooner, shine brighter, and your heart will ache to be seen. But remember, the tree that grows too fast breaks easily. The one that takes its time grows roots deep enough to survive the storm. So if life hides you now, it's not rejection, it's refinement. The unseen phase is not punishment, it's protection. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." It's a reminder that pain is not a signal to quit, it's a signal to focus. Every unseen act of discipline is shaping you quietly. Every day you stay consistent when no one notices. You are building something that noise can't destroy. One day, they will see what you built. They will call it sudden. They will call it talent. They will call it luck. But you know the truth. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't luck. It was hours of silence. It was years of patience. It was faith in the process. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." The silent work is that proving ground. It's where you become someone the storm cannot break. It's where you earn the right to be calm, to move with intention, not impulse, to act, not react. You don't need the world to see your progress. You just need to see it through. Because the process isn't testing your ability, it's testing your consistency. It's not asking, can you do it once? It's asking, can you keep doing it when no one cares? The Stoics understood that mastery is repetition. Courage is repetition. Faith is repetition. Each day showing up. Each day choosing the work again. Until the act becomes nature. Until effort becomes ease. And when that happens,
when the work no longer feels forced, when discipline becomes identity, you will understand why the silence was necessary. The world rewards what is visible, but life transforms what is invisible. So, be patient. Stay hidden if you must. Let your progress grow in the dark. Let your roots go deep before you rise. Because one day, when the time is right, the world will see what the silence built. And you will realize it was never just work. It was worship. It was devotion. It was faith. Faith in the process.
You say you want strength, but do you really want what creates it? Everyone wants the flame's warmth. Few are willing to stand in its heat. Because resistance, the very thing we try to avoid, is the only thing that can shape us. Seneca once said, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave." He wasn't speaking in metaphor, he was describing life itself. Every trial, every obstacle, every heartbreak is a furnace, and inside that fire, the weak metal burns away. Only what is pure remains. But most people run from the fire. They call it pain. They call it failure. They call it unfair. The Stoic calls it training. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Resistance is not the enemy. It's the architect of your becoming. It sculpts the unshaped. It tempers the soul. When you push against the weight, you grow stronger. When you carry the burden, you learn endurance. When life hits hard, you discover your power. But here's the truth. Transformation hurts. The old you will not go quietly. It will fight. It will scream. It will cling to comfort. And that is why the fire feels unbearable. Because something inside you is dying. But what's dying is weakness. What's dying is illusion. What's dying is fear pretending to protect you. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That mastery begins in the flame, when you no longer react from panic, but respond from principle. Pain, when met with presence, becomes power. Resistance, when met with reason, becomes growth. The Stoics did not seek pain, they accepted it as a teacher. They looked it in the eye and said, "Show me what I must learn." You want strength? Then walk through your suffering with awareness. Stand inside the fire until you realize the flames don't destroy you, they reveal you. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every friction, every challenge is polishing your mind, your patience, your purpose. It's removing the unnecessary. It's burning off what's false. You're not being punished. You are being purified. The Stoics understood that the universe does not owe comfort. It offers challenge. And within challenge lies choice. To run or to arise. To complain or to conquer. To suffer or to become. Every fire demands a decision, and every decision shapes destiny. When you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" that's when the transformation begins. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Read that again. You have the power, not the world, not fate, you. The Stoics believed that life's fire cannot touch the one who owns his response, because nothing outside can burn what's already illuminated within. So the next time life feels unbearable, don't ask for the fire to end, ask for the strength to endure it. Ask for the vision to see its purpose, because the moment you stop running, the fire loses control over you. It's no longer something that happens to you. It becomes something that happens for you. Epictetus said, "Difficulties show men what they are. If resistance reveals and fire refines, then pain, my friend, is the process itself.
Every scar you carry is proof that you survived the lesson. Every wound that healed is wisdom written on your skin. Every time you broke and rebuilt, you were learning the ancient law of resilience. You can't fake calm inside the fire. You can only earn it. You can't speak about faith until you walk through darkness. You can't preach peace until you've endured chaos. So let the world test you. Let it burn what must go. Let it harden what must remain. Because you are not here to stay safe. You are here to become solid. And when the fire finally fades, when the smoke clears, you will stand there, not unscarred, but unbroken. Marcus Aurelius said, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That is the Stoic way, to turn every obstacle into fuel, to turn every pain into purpose, to turn every ending into evolution. So when life throws you into the fire, do not panic. Do not beg for escape. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and whisper the ancient truth. This fire will not burn me. It will build me.
There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when something inside you stops fighting. Not because you've given up, but because you finally understand. The storm is not here to destroy you. It's here to wake you up. You spent years running from pain, from rejection, from the feeling of not being enough. But one day, you simply stop running. You turn around. You look it in the eye, and you realize it was never chasing you. It was leading you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The universe is change, life is opinion." For so long you believed life was punishing you. But what if it was teaching you? What if every delay was protection? Every closed door, redirection. Every heartbreak, purification. There's a moment when you see that the process you hated was actually saving you. Because faith isn't built in comfort. It's born in confusion. It's born in the nights when nothing makes sense. And yet, you keep going. You stop needing proof. You stop demanding results. You start trusting the unseen rhythm of things. Epictetus said, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will go on well." That is the turning point, when you no longer beg life to bend for you. You begin to bend with life. The Stoics understood something simple. Control is an illusion, but mastery is real. It's the art of choosing your response, even when you cannot choose your circumstance. Seneca said, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it be, without wishing for what he has not." At this point, peace stops being a prize. It becomes a posture. You carry it into chaos. You speak it into noise. You live it even when nothing changes. Because the greatest freedom is not found in victory. It's found in surrender. Not the weak kind of surrender, the wise kind. The kind that says, "I will not waste my energy fighting what already is." That is the quiet strength of faith. Faith does not erase pain. It transforms your relationship with it. You stop saying, "Why me?" You start saying, "Why not me?" You stop asking, "When will it end?" You start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Because you realize every unanswered prayer shaped your patience. Every delay shaped your humility. Every loss shaped your clarity. You were being sculpted, not punished. There is beauty in breaking when you know you're breaking open.
There is grace in loss when you see what it makes space for. There is peace in letting go when you understand what's meant to stay. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny for what could more aptly fit your needs." At this point, peace stops being a prize. It becomes a posture. You carry it into chaos. You speak it into noise. You live it even when nothing changes. Because the greatest freedom is not found in victory. It's found in surrender. Not the weak kind of surrender, the wise kind. The kind that says, I will not waste my energy fighting what already is. That is the quiet strength of faith. Faith does not erase pain, it transforms your relationship with it. You stop saying, why me? You start saying, why not me? You stop asking, when will it end? You start asking, what is this teaching me? Because you realize every unanswered prayer shaped your patience. Every delay shaped your humility. Every loss shaped your clarity. You were being sculpted, not punished. There is beauty in breaking when you know you're breaking open. There is grace in loss when you see what it makes space for. There is peace in letting go when you understand what's meant to stay. Marcus Aurelius said, accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny for what could more aptly fit your needs. At the turning point, you begin to live differently. You no longer chase validation. You no longer measure yourself by progress. You wake up grateful, not because life is perfect, because you finally see it clearly. The morning light is the same. The world outside hasn't changed, but you have. You carry stillness where there used to be fear. You carry patience where there used to be pressure. You carry faith where there used to be control. And that faith, quiet, unshakable, becomes your anchor. The Stoics called it ataraxia, a tranquil mind untouched by chaos. It doesn't mean life stops hurting. It means you stop adding suffering to pain. You stop saying this shouldn't happen. You start saying it has happened. Now what will I do with it? That's power, not the loud kind, the silent kind. The power to smile when plans fall apart, to breathe when the storm returns, to keep walking when you don't see the road. Because you've learned, the process was never against you. It was for you, always for you. And the proof is simple. You're still here. You've lost, you've burned, you've doubted, but you're still standing, still breathing, still capable of faith. Epictetus said, circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. And now you see yourself clearly. You see what survived. You see what mattered. That is the moment the fire no longer frightens you, because you realize the same fire that hurt you also healed you. That is the turning point, when survival becomes serenity, when pain becomes purpose, when endurance becomes enlightenment. The Stoics didn't promise an easy life. They promised a meaningful one. And meaning only comes when you trust the process, even when you don't understand it. Because faith is not built in the light. Faith is the ability to stand in the dark and still believe in dawn. Seneca said, "He who has learned how to endure knows how to live." Now you understand. The point was never to avoid pain, but to awaken through it. You've reached the turning point. Not where life gets easier, but where you get stronger. Not where the storm ends, but where you learn to dance in the rain. Not where faith is proven, but where faith becomes your way of being. Because now you know, everything you went through was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you.
There is a kind of strength that makes no sound. It doesn't shout. It doesn't fight. It simply endures and remains unmoved. This is the strength the Stoics called stillness. In a world that glorifies reaction, stillness is rebellion. In a world that worships control, stillness is freedom. Because control, in its truest form, is not about holding everything together. It's about knowing what to let go. Epictetus said, "There is only one way to happiness, to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." Most people suffer not because life is cruel, but because they try to control the uncontrollable. They want people to change. They want outcomes to obey. They want the world to move at their pace. But the Stoic knows that is a losing battle. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The world will always be unpredictable. The weather, the markets, the opinions of others, all beyond your reach. But your response, that belongs entirely to you. Stillness begins when you stop chasing what isn't yours to control. When you stop arguing with reality. When you start mastering your own perception. Because the true battlefield isn't out there, it's within. The Stoic warrior doesn't fight the storm. He becomes the calm inside it. He doesn't need the world to be peaceful. He brings peace to the world. Seneca said, "If you are master of yourself, you need not be mastered by anything else." Self-mastery is the highest form of power. It's not domination over others. It's dominion over one's impulses. The discipline to pause before reacting. The clarity to choose principle over emotion. That's control. Not the fragile kind built on fear, but the steady kind built on awareness. The Stoics trained for it daily, not through grand acts of heroism, but through small acts of mindfulness. They watched their thoughts. They questioned their judgments. They practiced restraint in moments of anger. And in doing so, they built an empire within. Because when you can remain calm in the face of chaos, you've already won. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want. The Stoic knows freedom means not being a slave to what you want. Desire chains you. Anger blinds you. Fear manipulates you. But awareness liberates you. Marcus Aurelius said, "You become what you give your attention to. And where attention goes, energy flows." So the Stoic learns to guard his focus as carefully as a warrior guards his blade. He doesn't waste it on gossip, envy, or distraction. He directs it inward, toward improvement, gratitude, and purpose. Stillness is not laziness. It's precision. It's clarity in motion. It's the art of acting only when necessary and doing it with complete presence.
To the untrained mind, stillness looks like inaction. To the Stoic, it's the highest form of control. Because silence is not empty. It's full of answers. In that silence, you begin to see clearly. You can't control others, but you can control your kindness. You can't control outcomes, but you can control your effort. You can't control the past, but you can control your perspective. And once you realize that, life stops being a struggle for control and becomes a practice of acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean apathy. It means understanding where your power ends and where peace begins. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." Worry is imagination misused. Fear is faith inverted. Both dissolve in stillness. Stillness is seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. It's walking through noise with a quiet mind. It's facing pressure with steady breath. It's answering chaos with calm conviction. And the irony is this: the moment you stop needing control, you gain it. Not control over the world, but over yourself. And that's the only control that ever mattered. Because storms will come again. Loss will visit again. Uncertainty will rise again. But when your peace no longer depends on them, you've transcended them. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That retreat is built through daily practice, through reflection, restraint, and reason. Stillness isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you train. And when you train it, you become untouchable, unshaken by praise or criticism, unafraid of failure or success, unmoved by chaos or calm, because you've built your foundation on something eternal, the mastery of your own mind. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And in that mastery, you find the kind of control no one can take away. The Stoic way is not to suppress emotion, but to direct it. Not to escape the world, but to engage it with wisely. Stillness is not retreat, it's readiness. It's the moment before action, the breath before decision, the silence before wisdom speaks. And when you move from that place of stillness, your actions carry the weight of purpose. They are clean, precise, powerful. This is control, not over life, but within life. The world may spin, the noise may rise, the fire may return, but inside, you are still. And from that stillness, everything flows.
Faith, not the kind you speak, the kind you live. Not belief because it's easy, but belief that survives when everything else is gone. This is the faith within, the quiet force that keeps you standing when logic says you should have fallen. Faith in the process is not faith that everything will go your way. It's faith that everything will serve your growth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Everything that happens, happens as it should, and if you observe carefully, you will find this to be so." To the ordinary mind, faith looks naive. To the Stoic, it's the highest form of wisdom,
Because faith is not about prediction, it's about perception. It's the ability to see meaning in what others call misfortune. It's the strength to hold peace in the middle of uncertainty. Epictetus said, "When something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it." That's where faith begins, not in the heavens, but in your own mind. Faith is the courage to trust that the unseen pattern is not chaos, it's order, beyond your understanding. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" You start saying, "This is happening for me, though I may not yet see how." And in that shift, you stop resisting life. You start aligning with it. Because when you trust the process, you don't need proof. You become proof. Faith is what carries you when sight fails. It's what whispers, "Keep going," when everything screams, "Give up." Seneca said, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." Faith changes how you think, and by changing how you think, it changes who you become. When you have faith, you don't escape reality. You expand your capacity to live it. Because faith is not blindness, it's clarity. It's knowing that you control nothing, and yet nothing can truly harm you. The Stoics believe that the universe is rational, that even in suffering there is structure, even in loss there is learning, even in endings there is evolution. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look there." That source, that eternal spring, is faith, not in the outside world, but in your ability to respond to it. Faith is not waiting for calm seas. It's learning to sail through the storm. Faith is not hoping the path will be easy. It's knowing you were built for difficult roads. Faith is not expecting clarity. It's walking forward even when your heart is the only light. You see, the Stoics did not pray for an easy life. They prayed for the strength to meet whatever life brings. And that strength is faith in motion. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." That's not resignation, it's liberation. It's the kind of freedom that only comes when you stop demanding and start trusting. Faith is knowing that time is not against you, it's working for you. That every delay, every detour is refining you, not rejecting you. Because the process doesn't move at your pace, it moves at the pace of your preparation. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Faith teaches you to stop wasting time resisting, to live fully even when things are unclear, to find peace not after the storm, but inside it. Because when faith lives within you, you no longer need everything to make sense. You trust that it already does. You stop bargaining with fate. You start walking with it. You stop fearing change. You start flowing with it. The Stoics called this harmony, living in accordance with nature. And nature never rushes, yet everything is accomplished. So you slow down, you breathe, you watch, and in the silence between moments, you feel it, that invisible hand guiding you forward. Marcus Aurelius said, "Whatever happens to you was prepared for you from all eternity, and the thread of causes was spun long ago." Faith accepts that, not with blind obedience, but with quiet strength. Because the one who trusts the process no longer fears the unknown. He has walked through darkness enough times
to know the light always returns. That's the secret. Faith doesn't remove fear, it walks beside it. Faith doesn't erase struggle, it gives struggle meaning. Faith doesn't promise safety, it promises significance. And when you finally stop demanding certainty, you find peace. When you stop searching for signs, you become the sign. When you stop fearing the process, you become one with it. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly," and that includes you. Every version of yourself is being carved by time, by trial, by transformation. Faith means you no longer rush the carving. You trust the sculptor, even when the chisel hurts. Because what's being shaped is sacred, and what's sacred always takes time. So have faith, not in luck, not in outcome, but in order, in wisdom, in the process itself. Because when you finally look back, you'll realize nothing was wasted. Not a single tear, not a single failure, not a single moment of doubt. Everything was building the faith within. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So think deeply, live calmly, believe quietly. Because faith is not something you find, it's something you become. And once you found it within, nothing outside can take it away.
At first, you fight the process. Then you learn to trust it. And one day, you become it. This is the final transformation, not of circumstance, but of being. You no longer chase control. You no longer seek peace. You are peace. The storms still come, the losses still sting, but something has changed. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer resist, you receive. You no longer wait for life to begin, you realize it already has. Marcus Aurelius said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." For a long time, you wrestled with fate, trying to shape it, outthink it, outrun it. Now you understand. You were never meant to win the fight. You were meant to learn from it. And in learning, you dissolve the boundary between you and the process itself. What was once chaos now feels like rhythm. What was once pain now feels like purpose. What was once darkness now feels like depth. You begin to see that life has always been working with you, not against you. Seneca said, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." Now you walk willingly, no longer dragged by resistance, no longer chained by fear. You move through life like a river through mountains, flowing, patient, unstoppable. That is what it means to become the process. You stop measuring success by outcomes. You measure it by integrity. You stop asking, "What did I gain?" You start asking, "Who did I become?" Because faith is no longer an act, it's your nature. The Stoics called it living according to virtue, to act with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance in every moment, no matter how small. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." You no longer speak of faith, you live it. You no longer seek meaning, you are meaning. You understand now, the process was never external. It was you, growing, breaking, healing, evolving.
Every challenge you met, every fear you faced, every loss you survived was life refining you into alignment with itself. You no longer need to believe in destiny. You've become one with it. Marcus Aurelius said, "What we do now echoes in eternity, and your actions, small, steady, unseen, are the echoes of a soul in harmony." You no longer chase time, you move with it. You no longer fear death, you understand it as part of the same flow. Because to become the process is to realize there was never a separation between you and life. You were never outside the plan. You were the plan. Faith is not what you hold, it's what holds you. The Stoic doesn't just speak calm, he radiates it. He doesn't just know the way, he is the way. That's the quiet power of becoming. You move slower now, but deeper. You speak less, but mean more. You act simply, but with full awareness. You've stopped searching for peace because you've discovered it was built into you all along. Seneca said, "A happy life is one that is in accordance with its own nature." And that is what you've returned to, your nature, unshaken, undisturbed, unbroken. The process no longer feels like something you endure. It feels like something you are. You are the rhythm between rise and fall. You are the silence between thought and action. You are the calm inside every storm. And when the next challenge comes, you won't flinch. You'll smile. Because you've seen this before. You've lived this before. And you know how the story goes. It's not a story of loss. It's a story of becoming. Epictetus said, "Circumstances reveal the man to himself." Now the man revealed is whole, still, certain, faithful. You've learned that there is no final destination, only deepening, no ending, only unfolding. Faith in the process has become faith in yourself, and faith in yourself has become faith in everything. Because when you embody the process, you don't need to force growth, you allow it. You don't need to chase peace, you create it. You don't need to seek meaning, you live it. Marcus Aurelius said, "To live in harmony with the universe is to live in accordance with reason and virtue." That harmony is here now, in your breath, your stillness, your faith. You've become what you once sought. You've become the calm after the storm, the light after the dark, the order after the chaos. You have become the process, and that is enough.